Hello, hello. I'll give it some time. I'll just keep sipping my tea while I wait for people to show up. And let me know if you can hear me. I have a new song out. I assume that's why people are here. But, okay, good. Yay. What's up, Michael? Yeah, song out. It's called Careless. And I'm super excited to have this one out. I've been sitting on it for a bit. Weird echo. Oh no. Really? I think that's you. I'm going to assume that's you. Make sure you don't have two things open at once. This is my my audio engineering blame someone else first before myself. But yeah, check to see if you have like two tabs open. And then if you still hear the weird echo. Okay, Michael doesn't hear an echo. Yeah, see? That's what years of experience as an audio engineer gives me. I'm quick to blame everyone else these days. It's like an IT job, you know, where you're just like, did you turn it on and turn it off? That type of thing. Cool. Hey, what's up, Chris? The other Chris? Called it. Yeah, thanks for joining, everyone. I guess today is a celebratory day. I just dropped a new song. I assume you all know, but I just dropped a song called Careless yesterday. It's a collab with Jack Tatum. I assume it's not the Jack that just said hi in the chat. Maybe a different Jack. But yes, hello, Jack, all the same. Very excited to have this one out. I spent a long time on this one, so it's nice to see something you've been like really sitting on and just coming up with so many iterations of, and finally get to a point where it feels ready for release and have it out in the world. Hey, Sapphire, nice to see you. My headphones are fucked up. I have to get new ones. I'm so sad. I've been using these babies for a long time. They've gotten me through 2 records now, but it's funny. They just died out on me right when I was done with this one. So I think it's their time. If anyone has any good headphone recommendations, maybe I'll try something new out for the next record that I'm in the process of making. Yeah, cool. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, so new song out. Just came out yesterday. It is a collab that I did with Jack Tatum of Wild Nothing. And this song means a lot to me for many reasons. I would say the collab is like a big part of it. Working with Jack is kind of a dream collab situation for me. I don't know how much I should talk about it before, people show up, but I think this song really showcases my roots with how I got started playing music, really, with, just like indie rock bands, and the stuff that inspired me back when I started was all kind of from that scene that Jack was a part of. So it's cool. It feels like I'm fulfilling a dream of my younger self in a way. But I also just admire Jack's musicianship and everything. And so it's just really awesome to have this idea in your head come to fruition in such a perfect way. So that's exciting for me. Hey, William. Cheers from Vancouver, Canada. You are far away. I've been to Vancouver, and the funny thing is, the one time I was in Vancouver, it was on tour, and it was actually my first stop on tour. It was the most poorly routed tour of all time. My first show, and I was living in New York at the time. First stop on tour was in Vancouver. So we had to drive all the way across the country to play our first show. And then right at the tail end, we had no smartphones at that time. We were just using GPS and we got lost. And then we got to the show slightly late and played the worst set of our lives, and then had like 3 days off after that. So that's my memory of Vancouver, unfortunately. But it was beautiful. I would like to spend more time there. What is my electricity bill? Ooh, good question. Yeah, it's pretty rough out here. Pretty rough. We got to get those turbines going. For sure. If this could all be solar powered, it would really save my wallet. I do try to keep all my equipment off when I'm not using it, but it was pretty much always on, though, this past year, because I was working on the album pretty much every second I was home. But yeah. Hello, Rascalon. Hey, Ernest. Hey, Cybergaze. Hey, Nelson. Wow, lots of people here. Thanks for joining. Happy Thursday. I'm just going to read through the comments real quick. Acoustic guitar in the intro really sets the tone for some classic dream indie pop. That was really the intention there. Yes, I really wanted to get some acoustic sounds going in this one. I haven't done a lot of that in my music because it's always kind of more electronic leaning. But for this one, it made a lot of sense. So yes, that was the tone I wanted to set at the beginning, and I think we accomplished it. I'm glad you made it too, Rascalon. Oh, from Newfoundland. Cool. I don't think I know anyone from Newfoundland until now. So thanks for joining, Ernest. Cool. Yeah. Hey, everyone. Wow. So many people here. It's a party. What made me want to go back and explore early influences in my new material? Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much longer I should wait. I can dive right into it. But I don't know how much of my art is really like cerebral in that way, where I'm like setting an intention and I'm like, okay, this album's going to sound like this, and I want to kind of like focus on this style and this genre. It kind of just happens on its own accord in many ways, and I'm kind of just being guided by this vision that maybe is, more subconscious. But I think a lot of it is more responsive to my environment and just like the situations around me. And so I've talked about this in the past, but I was working on a different record up until right around this time last year. And that record was entirely different than the sound you're hearing now. And it was a lot more electronic leaning, although still diving into some guitar work. But I was going for a very like dark, atmospheric, just a darker sound. And I think with just like the culmination of current events and my living situation, I've talked about my rat infestation problem before. We had like rats in the basement. There was shit just happening in life, shit happening in the world. And so like making a very dark record at that time, it was almost like it almost got to a point where I had no escape from the heaviness and the darkness. And so I just kind of found myself here and there picking up my guitar and just like randomly writing this indie pop song. And I'd be like not really sure where it came from. But I think looking back, it was my way of escaping a pretty rough situation, just mentally, emotionally. And so, yeah, it granted me some solace from all of that. And I had enough songs at a certain point where I realized, probably around November last year, I realized that I had a whole new record sort of emerging. So then I decided to just place my focus fully there and just kind of go entirely in that direction with that sound. And then I finished up the record in the spring. And yeah, so that's kind of the reason why I tap more into that sound. But I guess for me, the indie rock stuff, like I said, it's where I got my starts. And that was like the first music that really inspired me to move to New York and to play in bands. I was like heavily obsessed with Captured Tracks and everything they put out back in like 2012. That was just my dream. I wrote in like a vision board that my dream was to be in a Captured Tracks band and stuff. So it was like, that was everything for me at that time. And I never really went fully all the way with that vision. I played in some indie rock bands once I got to New York, but it kind of died out. And that was like just a combination of things. I think like the rock scene, the indie rock scene in New York just completely fizzled out for multiple reasons. And I also kind of was just changing certain things in my life. I was going back to school and stuff. So it just like, it never really saw it. I never went fully there with that vision. And so I think the thing with art, I've sort of come to realize is that it's just kind of like a transduction of like your emotional frequencies. And like, so it's just like feelings. It's just another form of your feelings. And feelings are something you can either let flow through you or they are something that you can repress. And so for me, I think a lot of those sounds were sort of just like repressed within me. Those ideas, that creative vision I had was just kind of like sitting there and never really got to be released into the world. And so I think when I was just kind of allowing myself to be more fluid with my artistic approach, it was like all of these ideas that had kind of been sitting there for nearly a decade just started coming out. So it's interesting because I do feel like there was a purging element of all of this. And like now that I've written these indie leaning songs, I kind of want to get back to more electronic stuff again. I feel like I got it out of my system. But who knows? I mean, I do like delving into that here and there. I don't think it'll ever stop completely. Yes, that's maybe my long answer to that question. And also, yeah, I mean, I was also listening to a lot of more guitar leaning music all last year as also a means of solace, just to feel some level of familiarity and like a sense of warmth and connection that like a lot of modern production just doesn't give me because I haven't built those associations maybe. And so listening to like, I mean, I don't know if any of you saw my or listened to my cover of Fortress, Pinback's Fortress, but like that's just an example of the stuff I was listening to at that time. And yeah, I felt a level of comfort in that sound. So it made a lot of sense for me to like just make some songs like that too. And Careless, I would say like my biggest sonic inspiration for that song was the Sundays. I was listening to the Sundays a lot during that time. Um, there's like this really sort of like ecstatic energy that I get from it. Just like this burst of hope or something that I get from that song, especially with like the vocal styling in that song. So I really wanted to just take a stab at it. It's my most ambitious. Careless is definitely by far my most ambitious song. As a musician, as an instrumentalist, especially. And so I definitely did reach a point where I was like, I think I can do all that I can do with my guitar chops here. And that was the point where I reached out to Jack and I was like, I want a musician's musician on this one. I really want to see it just get to that next level that the song deserves. Because I just felt like, okay, by the way, I did add my demo, the Careless demo here, so I could share that with you to show you kind of like the general idea I had, and like you can see sort of like from there where Jack took it. But it is slightly embarrassing for me, so I need a lot of encouragement on that. But yeah, Jack is just well, I would say my favorite song of Wild Nothings is Letting Go, which was on their second to last record. And that song's just so beautiful. And I feel like Jack is always setting the bar higher for himself with his production every time. And so like, whenever I listen to his stuff, I'm just like, God, this production is immaculate. It's so polished. It's so perfect. So I always had in the back of my head, if I were to ever reach out to someone to do any guitar work or anything production wise in the indie space, I would hit him up. So I'm very fortunate that he said yes to it this time around. Okay, I hope I didn't miss too much just now. Electric Bill is busted here, for real. Oh, there's a spider. Look at that. You can't really see it. Album cover goes hard. Thank you. That's Chris Burden's doing right there. This whole album cycle has been the most DIY project between me and Chris. As much as I love working, you can see a spider. You can see it. It's right there. Anyway, so yeah, this project has been very DIY. I love working with outside artists, but it's a very costly thing to do. And so I got to a certain point where I couldn't afford working with other artists at this time. So Chris and I kind of put it in our own hands to just really be resourceful and use all of our own gear. And so we went out to California in February and we did all the photos that you've seen for the album cover, which I think I have here somewhere. Album cover. Yeah. This is the album cover. Yeah, so we went out to California in February and did that, and then shot the music video for Careless, and just some other footage around Joshua Tree, 29 Palms area. So, yes, very beautiful place. Very, very beautiful. Rascalan, you are correct. The LP drops on October 4th. Mark it down in your calendars. Yes. You pronounce Vitesse X as Vitesse X. I know a lot of people have said Vitesse. I've been hearing that a lot. It's not Vitesse. I'm sorry to let some of you down. It is Vitesse X. Vitesse means speed in French. That wasn't exactly my reason for calling myself Vitesse X. It's actually just like an iteration of a song title from, I don't know if you guys are familiar, Marie Davidson, who's like a fucking awesome electronic artist. And I was a lot more into that kind of sound, more of like the dark wave sound. Back before I started this project, I was like really deep into that and like no wave and mutant disco and like all that stuff. So I had a radio show in Bushwick, Williamsburg, Bushwick area. And the show was named after her song, Excess de Vitesse. So I had a show called Excess Vitesse. And when I started this project, I still liked that name, but it needed to be condensed down a little bit. So then it became Vitesse X. And then my sound is like definitely not dark wave, but I was very inspired by her at one point in time. I still love her. She's great. And she's been doing more DJ sets lately that are also dope. If you haven't checked her out, I recommend it. But yes, that is the whole backstory of my name. Do I write the music or lyrics first? Absolutely the music for me. Lyrics, I don't want to say like they're secondary or an afterthought. That's definitely not true. They're extremely important. And I would say for this album, they're like, I dived very deep into the lyrics and I spent a lot of time on it. But it does work better for me to have the song there, so that I can kind of live in that universe first to then properly have words for those feelings, if that makes sense. But if I play the demo, you'll see how I don't actually have lyrics at that point. And so I have a way of coming up with my lyrics that's like kind of a combination of working with the vowel sounds I've put down, and then also sort of like a stream of consciousness style journaling that I do. And so I kind of, it's an interesting kind of like throwing things at the wall approach, but yeah, I'll have the song down and then I'll kind of just like sing along to it, mostly focusing on like certain vowel sounds that feel nice with it. And then I'll do some freestyle writing. And then after that, I kind of condense it down and like eventually work it into the vowel sounds that I have. And if I show you the demo, you can kind of get a better understanding because it's hard to explain exactly in words. But yeah, this album is very lyric focused. I would say when I listen back to it, I get really emotional more than I ever have listening back to my music before, because I'm listening to my journal entries pretty much. And it feels a lot more exposing into like my inner world in that way. I'm like really letting the listener in on some of my deep thoughts and very dark thoughts. So I guess I could transition that into talking about the Careless lyrics, because the lyrics for Careless are absolutely my darkest lyrics I think I've written for a song ever. This song is a lot about my struggle with depression, and just like specifically my struggles this past year, or like right around the time I started writing the record. It's kind of talking about that time, because I was dealing with a combination of like really extreme burnout, and then like just I was entering sort of a freeze mode state in psychology talk. So I think it was just like a really overwhelming time, and I just was losing a lot of motivation. I was hitting a lot of creative blocks, so I wasn't writing a lot of music. And so I was when I approached Careless, I was just kind of reflecting on that time and sort of like entering that space of what it feels like to be kind of like stuck in bed and feeling the weight of the world just kind of pulling you back. And it's funny because I've been calling this song my love letter to depression, which is like kind of a cheeky way of like explaining how depression works in a way, because it's like you're kind of conscious that it's not the best choice to be lying in bed and dwelling and like ruminating, but you still decide to do it anyway. And it's kind of like it becomes like this friend, it becomes like this entity almost that you have this deep relationship with. And it almost becomes this like warmth in a way, like your depression becomes your warmth. It becomes like your closest companion. And so it's definitely a self-critique in that respect. And it's like the beginning kind of is like this higher consciousness voice being like, get out, move, get back into the world. Your jaded mindset isn't helping you. But then kind of it just dives deeper and it's like, it sounds like a love song, but it's like to my own depression. So yeah, it's definitely, the lyrics are very dark. It almost sounds like it like reads like an emo song, but it is an emo song, I guess. It's very emo. But I think we can all relate to some level. It's a human experience. And that's what my music is all about, I would say. Okay. I've been talking a lot and I've been missing some things. So, ideal 4-name lineup you love to open for or headline? Ooh. Oh man, I would have to think hard about that. I really have this dream of one day throwing a festival that's catered to this sound that I feel that I'm kind of a part of, but that doesn't have an established name yet for it. And so like some of the bands I would think for that would be like Pearly Drops, definitely, CFCF, TDJ. Who else is a good example? Luke Man. It's kind of like the people that are merging these electronic sounds with the indie space a bit. So I have this dream of one day throwing a festival that's sort of centered around that sound and like being a part of it in some way. I would say that would be the ideal show in my mind. Obviously like a dream fantasy show would be like Sade or something, but I don't know if that would actually make sense. But that would be a dream. R.I.P. 285 Kent. Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but I fully agree. Oh man, I wish I could pull up photos more easily because I have an old photo of me playing there. One time, I only played there once, and it was right before it shut down. Me and Chris Burden, who's in the chat. Yeah, we had a band that we moved to New York with and everything. And 285 Kent was like that, and Glasslands, Death by Audio, that whole scene. That was like a big reason for us moving here too. It was super fun. Super fun times. Thank you, Dire Docs. Thank you. Oh, good. I'm glad you can hear the Sundays a bit. Yeah, I mean, I never want to like replicate a sound too much where it's like too on the nose, but yeah, I mean, they were in the back of my mind when I approached this song for sure. Especially wanting to add that acoustic style at the beginning. Thoughts on the indie sleaze revival. Is it genuine or music industry psyop? Well, maybe a combination of the two. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what indie sleaze totally means. I guess if we're talking sort of about like the Dime Square scene, I would say that it's not really my thing. More power to anyone who feels like, if you feel that that speaks to you and you feel at home in that space, that's great. I don't really feel that way. I just feel kind of like I'm back in high school looking for like a spot at the table. Like I feel like the awkward kid in those scenes, because it's like it's beyond the music. I think in those spaces it's not all like for me it's just all, I'm just kind of a nerd. Like it's all about the music for me and nothing more. And like doing anything outside of music is always like pulling teeth for me, whether that's even like taking photos and stuff. Like anything forward facing is very hard for me. And so I think when you get into like the Dime Square indie sleaze kind of territory, it becomes a lot more about like the forward facing elements that just don't connect with me and makes me feel kind of awkward and out of place. So that's kind of the reason. Maybe it just kind of draws out some insecurities and stuff. I don't know. But I feel a lot more at home around sort of like just nerdy music lovers that are just on the same wavelength in that way. That's how I feel about it. Also, I don't like if something's just reviving just for the sake of like living back in this moment in time and not really coming up with anything new. I mean, for me, my music, the whole reason I love making art, aside from like the therapy aspect of it, is like I just want to make something new. I want to make something that hasn't been done before. So I don't really like the idea of just like regurgitating something that's been done before. There's a place for it, just for like kind of like, you know, if you're just trying to make a fun party song and like lose your mind to it, that's totally cool. But I just don't operate that way. That's how I feel about indie sleaze, I guess. Yeah. You heard my music in a veggie grill? Oh, cool. I don't know what Veggie Grill is. That's a chain? Am I completely out of touch? I don't think I've heard of that before. But that's great. That sounds on brand for me. Oh, well, Chris just went straight to the point. He thinks indie sleaze is a music industry psyop. Yeah, and I think there is a lot of money being funneled into that between blogs and reviews and just like what we're seeing in pop culture. It's like a lot of that hype is kind of being floated by people with money, more so than like what the listeners actually want. But then at a certain point, I think people get fed enough of it where they do want it, and then it kind of like feeds into itself. So yeah, I mean, Charlie XCX is probably like a prime example of how that push to revive that sound kind of got more, it just became something that's now a part of modern pop culture. And so I think what's going to happen is some people say that like, okay, she kind of just closed that chapter and now it's done, but that's definitely not true. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be inspired to make albums like that one. And then maybe we'll see a new genre emerge that's taking that sound and making something new and interesting with it. I mean, I do like the Charlie XCX record in general. I do think it's more forward thinking than some of the other indie sleaze leaning stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not the best person to be speaking on that, to be honest. I tune a lot of it out. Yeah. If you really want to know my opinion, I tune it out. Anyway, Heaven Sample said, finding anyone who will work to a deadline is also just low-key so hard and very stressful. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Oh, no. Yeah, sorry if anyone's been pronouncing my name wrong. It happens a lot, though. You're not alone. I've had to make a couple posts about it, but yeah. On my Discord, I have a channel just dedicated to the pronunciation of my name. Did California inspire me to do music there? Or a song with a Cali sound? No. I think, yeah, I definitely wasn't like inspired to make a Cali sounding album by any means. I'm notoriously a Cali hater or like an LA hater. I actually really love California. I mean, that's why I took the photos where I did. But I think it was more of just this organic thing, like I was saying earlier, where I just really was using this album as a means of coping with my current situation and like just needing an escape to something more ideal, more beautiful, and more bright. So I think it was more of just like contrasting my current situation. So that's kind of why it sounds very Cali. And it's funny because when we were in California doing the photos and the videos, we realized, wow, this is a perfect album to be driving around Cali with. So it works out. It works out in that way. Oh no. I'm reading all your comments. Thanks everyone for showing up. I really appreciate it. My favorite Left 4 Dead 2 campaign? What's my favorite Left 4 Dead 2 campaign? Left 4 Dead. I need an explanation with that one. Maybe I'm like my reading comprehension is terrible right now, but I will answer that if you explain what you mean by that. Oh, you want to... I can play the music video now. If we're all here. Yeah, it's been a while. I should play it now. And I'll get back to your questions after. Does that sound good? You tell me. You tell me. It's a listening party after all. Okay, I'm gonna say yes because there's a delay. That's insane. And if there's any audio issues, if it's too loud or too quiet, I mean, you could use your volume control for that, but if it sounds like it's clipping, let me know and then I can lower it. 1 second. I hope this is the ProRes version. So it's I hope it doesn't start glitching out because it's yeah. Anyway, I'm talking too much. 1 second. Yeah. Oh wait. Look at this. I don't know if you heard that. Thanks everyone. Thank you. Wow, I don't even know like where to start with these questions. Yeah, Chris killed it. I would love to talk about kind of how this music video even came about. Because it's one of those situations. It's funny being like a musician and an artist and stuff makes you almost like more spiritual because you're just like you just start seeing things happen on their own, and like it's almost like something has a better, different idea for you every time you approach a creative idea. So anyway, I feel like with this music video, we went out to the desert in 29 Palms, Joshua Tree area, and we shot around this one location for a bunch of days, just trying to get the perfect album cover shot. Our main goal was to get the album cover going out there. But we were also like, hopefully we can get some others, maybe a music video, some other shots in between. But the main goal was to get the album cover shot. So we were in this one area. It was absolutely stunning. So beautiful. And you'll see some photos as the album campaign carries on. But it was like in this ravine area. And so we were like shooting overlooking this ravine. And it was so fucking cold the whole time. I was miserable, to be honest. But the last day we were out there, I read about the wind turbines that were about a 40-minute drive away. And the thing is, I've had on an old vision board of mine since I started considering making my own music project. I've always had wind turbines in the photos. Like there's just something about the wind turbine that there's just so much symbolism there. It goes on and on and on for me. And so I was like, well, we should just drive down there and see if we can get any shots. Like, might as well. We're here for the day. We already thought we had the album cover, by the way, at this other spot. So we were like, let's just drive down there and see what happens. And so we got to the turbines and started just shooting some photos. And it was really cold, by the way. The wind was crazy, as it should be. You're in a turbine farm. So I was like slightly, I wouldn't say miserable, but extremely uncomfortable. Between that outfit and the wind blowing and it was like 50 degrees, which doesn't sound too cold, but then plus the wind chill, it was fucking freezing. And my nose was like running the whole time. And so we were there for probably just a half hour. And Chris was like, oh, I have the Blackmagic camera. Might as well just shoot you walking around while we're here. So we just decided to get just sort of this like long form shot of me walking around, with no intention of that. Even the thing is, Careless wasn't fully written yet. It was just in the demo stage. So it wasn't really, the intention wasn't really there at that point to make a video, like a music video especially for this song. But once the song was done and once we looked back at the footage this summer, there was something really striking and just like something that it felt like it needed to be a part of it. Between especially the emotional state I was in when we shot it, I feel like really captures the energy of the song, like to a T. Between my discomfort and just like, sort of walking around aimlessly and like wanting so desperately to like be back in the warmth and like feel feel warm and comfortable again. And you can see at the beginning of the video, I'm like prepping myself to walk around. And I don't know, there's something about that emotion that I was in. That's the emotional state I was in. You can see it on my face. I'm not necessarily thrilled. That felt really perfect for the theme of the song and being kind of like trapped in a aimless, depressive state and trying to find the warmth and the hope there. And I've just felt like the pairing of the visual and the music and the lyrics just felt so right and so like it just was meant to be, kind of. So anyway, yeah, it kind of just happened on its own. It had a mind of its own, and then that's what it turned out to be. So, and yes, Chris did a great job. So what else should I say about it? Yeah, there's a lot to say. But it's cool that we just kind of got all of that. The album cover, all of it was done in about 30 minutes. Yeah, that's wild to think about. Yep. Thank you. Hey, wait, I say your name wrong every time. It's Savag. Did I get it right this time? Let me know. I've said Savage every time. And you've corrected me every time, but I'm getting it right this time. Savag. Let me know. Yes. Thank you. I'm going to look back at your questions because I missed some stuff. But feel free to ask any questions. AGS asked if I ever get frustrated with sound design, like finding obstacles to get the sounds in your head into the DAW you're using. Yeah. Whew. I think most of the time the reason my process can be very long is because I'm just trying to find the right sound. And I think there's two approaches that I'll take. One is just kind of trusting spontaneity, and kind of just like letting a sound find itself, not necessarily having it in my head, but just kind of like playing around with something new that I hear. And then the other approach is hearing something in my head and just toying around between my VSTs and, like I have my Oberheim synth behind me, just playing around with a bunch of different things to finally get the sound I'm hearing in my head. And that can take a very, very long time. So yeah, I get frustrated. Oh yeah, I get frustrated. Yeah, it's never romanticize the creative process. It's not romantic. It's a lot of beating your head against the desk. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a sacrifice. Heaven Sample Fortnite tournament at the album release show. Yeah, that's actually going to be the opener. Yeah. By the way, I do want to mention Heaven Sample. He is going to be playing drums for me at my album release show on October 17th at Elsewhere in New York. So I'm getting like a little band together for this album release show, which is the first time I've done that. So that's very exciting. It's gonna be very interesting to hear this music with like live instrumentation outside of my guitar for the first time. So yeah, you definitely do not want to miss the release show. And speaking of, I have the flyer right here. Look at that. Yep. October 17th. The opener is still TBD, but yes, hell yeah, Ethan. I'm excited to see you there. The opener is still TBD, but if not, then it'll be Heaven Sample playing Fortnite. Oh, I got it right. Yes. Sweet. Finally, after all this time. Another thing, it's been almost an hour. Another thing, another reason I wanted to get on the stream is because I have a test pressing that I am giving away. If you missed it last time, well, I'm sorry. But I am giving a test pressing away to one lucky person in my comments from my last music video. So I can announce that now. I don't know if they're in the chat though, which is unfortunate. But you guys can find out first. Drum roll. Do I have a drum roll? I think I have a drum roll. Oh no, I don't. I have that. Okay, I'm just gonna do it. Drum roll. Okay. Test pressing winner. Maybe I should show the test pressing first. Here it is. This Infinite test pressing. And it will be a signed test pressing, I should add. The winner of the test pressing is... Ready? Ognos. I don't think they're in the chat right now, so I'll have to do another announcement in my Discord. Woo! Very exciting. And let me just say, I listened to the album on vinyl when the test pressing came in, and it sounds so nice. It sounds so good on vinyl. It's like, fuck. I wish people could only hear it in that format, to be perfectly honest with you. But even more of a reason to grab the record on vinyl when you get a chance. It sounds really good. Fred, well, I will say that I might have a couple more test pressing giveaways. Who won? Ognos. Ognos won. Woohoo. Yeah, so there might be a couple more opportunities. So do not be forlorn just yet. Yes, the album is, if Chris, if you don't mind, if you're still in the chat, posting a link to the physicals on the website, that'd be great. So yeah, the record is available for pre-order on vinyl, on CD, on cassette, and I never said this out loud, but also on mini disc. I've been meaning to make an announcement, but I was kind of waiting, but it is available. So if any of that interests you, we'll add a link here in a second. But I would say vinyl all the way, man. It sounds so good. Yeah, I have a couple other things. Thank you, Chris. So, yeah, I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit. Yep, mini disc. Yes. You're like the first to actually hear. But it's been on the website for a bit. I wanted to wait to announce it. I've been so excited by mini discs for a while. They just look so cool. They're just great collector's items, and they're more compact, so it makes sense for our living spaces, our lifestyles these days. Not to say that many people have mini disc players, but it's a very cool collector's item, and they look really sick. Everything sounds better in vinyl. Yeah, I mean, at least this record does. I will say that. I wanted to talk a little bit about the song, just a bit more about the collab in particular. So I hope everyone's familiar with Wild Nothing, because if not, you're missing out. But yeah, I think I just want to say, like, this is like probably the most exciting collab I've ever done. Before I even started playing music, I was listening to Wild Nothing. So I remember, like, back in high school, I remember having my iPod on me and listening to Chinatown by Wild Nothing, and just like really loving that song. And then, like, years down the road, I became really close friends with the Beach Fossils guys, who are all in the same scene as Wild Nothing and everything. So I did meet Jack one time. I'll tell you the story of the first time I met Jack from Wild Nothing, and it's insanely embarrassing. Like, one of the most embarrassing situations I've been in. So I was in the car, and we were driving some of our friends, Beach Fossils guys, and Jack, who I hadn't met before until that moment. We were driving them to the beach, and I left my wallet and phone on the top of the car. Yes. And I didn't realize until we were driving down the highway. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, where's my phone and my wallet? And then I remembered we had all heard this like thump at the beginning, like when we started driving off. And we all kind of laughed like, oh, what was that? And then in that moment, I realized that my shit was just in the middle of a busy road. So we immediately turned around and went to go look for it. I did see on the map that my phone was in the middle of the street. So I was like, okay, it's still there. By the time we got there, my wallet was gone and my phone was completely smashed. And at that time, it's like, I didn't know any of these guys super well, and so I didn't want to, like, I was trying to play it all so cool, which I think trying to play it so cool was making me look more like an idiot, to be honest. I was like, whatever, I didn't need that stuff anyway, like, whatever. It's only like a couple $100 that I just got paid from work in my wallet, whatever. It was a lot of money that I lost, and my phone got destroyed. It was like fucked up. But I just played it cool because I wanted to be a cool kid. And then we went to the beach and all my shit was gone. Yeah. And that was the first time I met Jack. So, you know, sometimes things can start off terribly. You can really make a bad impression of yourself, but then it can all work out in the end. iPhone 6 energy. Yeah. So yeah, that was the first time I met Jack. I think he probably thought I was a freak. But then years down the road, while I had been running live sound for many, many years. So I was working at this venue called The Dance, RIP. The Dance was this really cool venue that only lasted like 9 months in Manhattan. And in 2019, Wild Nothing played at The Dance, and I got to do sound for them. And so I got to like hang out with the band and stuff, and I got to talk to Jack more. And yeah, we like all hit it off. I became really close friends with a lot of the guys in the band, and so we kept in touch more through that, I would say, than anything from me doing sound. Oh yeah, I did actually prepare. I have a video of them when they played at The Dance when I did sound for them. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, here we go. It's just a quick clip of them playing, just for context. Cool venue. No sound tribute. None whatsoever. Just a box. But that was a moment that I needed to record because... What's he doing? Oh my god! What the fuck? Okay. Well, I'll let you watch this for a second. Okay, Chris just found somehow, I don't know how he has this, but he has the phone. Look at that. I wasn't lying. I still somehow have this thing. I didn't even know that. Okay, well, yeah, this is the smashed phone. Wow. It still exists after all this time. That's insane, Chris, how you found that. And it's sticky and gross and there's hair all over it. That's fucking... Yes. So anyway, wow. Wild. I'm going to frame that phone now. Yeah, so anyway, I did sound for them at the dance there, and that moment was really awesome for me. I was getting emotional in that moment because I was like, oh my God, I used to listen to this song on my iPod and now I'm doing sound for this band I love. That's so cool. It was like a really full circle moment for me. And yeah, so I would say that's like how Jack and I got closer, was through me doing sound for him at the show. And then, you know, I tapped into this sound this year and I had this song and I was like, damn, it just needs to get taken to the next level. And I feel like Jack would be perfect for it. And I would love to get some of his guitar tones on it and everything. And so I reached out to him and he was more than excited to work on it with me, which was an honor. So it was very cool. Oh yeah, I have a photo of us. I just went to his show last week. Yeah, he had a show last week in New York and I went to see them. There's us at the show. They sounded amazing. Super cool. Yeah, that song reminds me of that era for sure. It's very nostalgic now. Very nostalgic. So you guys haven't encouraged me enough, but I have the demo. It's really rough. It's very rough, and it doesn't have lyrics. So if you encourage me enough, I will play the demo that I sent to Jack, telling him, "Hey, this is the idea. I want to get your magic on it." But I'm gonna wait. Only if you really want to hear it, I'll play it. It doesn't have lyrics. It's just me doing my vowel sound thing, which I do think is important for maybe you to get some context of how I figure out my lyrics. Oh, William says don't play it. Okay. He says don't play it. There's okay. We got more yays than nays. But be honest. If you don't want to hear it, that's fine too. Oh. You changed your mind, William. Okay. It's just like, it's the idea. It's just an idea. But I will say, like, I was very uncomfortable sending demos out to people up until this collab. And now I feel a lot better about it. So, okay, I'll play it. Fine. I gotta find it first. 1 second. Oh, also, I want to check one thing. Demo properties. Okay, cool. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not gonna shit talk this demo too hard because we did keep elements. We kept some of the first recordings in the real track. So like the guitar bends are still in it. That like sample, the vocal sample, and then basically Jack just like replicated what I did. He took the program drums and he was like, yeah, I want to maintain the same groove and everything. So he just kind of like did a lot of replacement. And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of his vision was like just getting those tones really in a better spot and like, just like bringing it to life. So yeah, I mean, it was just like a very good, team effort for sure. And then I don't know if you can notice, like that is the best example I could give of how my vocals start and how the lyrics start is by just kind of like mouthing vowel sounds. And then sometimes I'll kind of, when I'm listening back, I'll kind of hear a phrase in that sometimes works. Sometimes I'm doing more like freestyle stream of consciousness writing and then kind of merging that with what I'm hearing. So it's a combination of the two. And sometimes like I'll get lyrics that I really love, but it just doesn't fit enough with the cadence that I originally had. So I'll have to sort of like adapt it so it fits the cadence or it fits the vowel sounds better. Because it's more about honoring the feel of the song than like honoring I definitely honor the lyrics, but I don't want to do that at the sacrifice of the feel of the song. That's the most important thing, because music to me is just such a great way to communicate without the need for the English language. So I just think that there's so many things that can be better translated through the feel of the song, and then the lyrics kind of just help get that point across. So I'm glad you can kind of like get a taste of that process, because it's kind of funny. But I've since heard that people like Caroline Polachek do stuff like that, where I guess they have like a word for it. What was it called? She had a word for it, but it's not, I'm not the only one that does that apparently, which is validating to hear that someone like her does that. Yeah. You are the first to probably ever hear a really rough Vitesse X demo. That was the first. Cool. See you later, Savag. I'm glad I now know how to pronounce your name properly. Yeah, I'd love to do track breakdowns, but that to me feels like kind of ambitious in this moment in time. 'Cause I'll probably have to clean up my sessions a bit. Like some sessions are still chaos, so I would have to really prep to do a breakdown that could be best translated in a way that could be understood. I would absolutely do more collaborations with Wild Nothing. But I also, excuse me, I also just love the idea of trying to work with other people too. I just feel like that opened a door for me to collaborate in general. So I would like to take a stab with some other artists in the future. It really just comes down to like, I have a song and then I feel like this person would be great to add their own signature sound or their vision to it. So I'm not going to really know probably until I have a song that makes sense for whoever I have in mind. But I don't know if you guys have seen, because my track listing is very much public now for the album. But I do have another collab on the record with the band's Pearly Drops. So be on the lookout for that one. I'm really excited to share that one too. So yeah, I mean, this album wasn't just me isolated in my studio, my basement studio this entire time. I did try to push myself to make this more collaborative. So that's going to be exciting to get that one out too. I'm currently scheming up a music video and stuff. So we have a little bit of work to do before then, but that's going to be really great to get out there too. Yeah, Pearly Drops are awesome. Super awesome. I'm just super honored to be working with all these artists I really admire. It's, I'm just like, woo. It feels good. But I'm like, I am not worthy. Second opener for release show should be Tickle Fights with Vape Error on stage. Yeah, I actually, let's do that. That'll sell all the tickets. We'll be sold out in under 5 minutes for certain. Anyway, did I miss any questions? Oh, yeah, exactly. Cocteau Twins are proof about things getting across better with melody rather than words. Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, my lyrics do not feel discernible at all. And then I remember Cocteau Twins didn't need to make it discernible. And they're amazing. So you are very correct about that one. Let me know if I missed your question. I kind of, I probably skimmed past some things. This Infinite Deluxe with more demos. Yeah, maybe. I think there will be a deluxe at some point. Because I do have some tracks that didn't make it on there that could be really cool to add. So yeah, that is a very much possibility. I don't know like how many demos I have that would be worth putting on a deluxe. Some of them are very rough, very, very rough, but I'll have to listen through and see if any of them make the cut. Yeah, please ask any more questions. I'll probably call it a night pretty soon. But I really appreciate all of you hanging out in the chat tonight. I'm never certain if I'm going to just be here talking to myself, which is also totally fine. Do I have anything more to announce? Oh, yeah. Who knows Chad Muska? Who's familiar with Chad Muska? Let me know. He's this pro skateboarder who he shared my track on one of his Instagram reels where he was showing off one of his skateboards. He had one of my songs playing in the background, I should say. But I just stumbled on it the other day and I was like, oh shit. And Chris Burden in the chat, he has been obsessed with Chad Muska since he was a kid. very inspired by Chad Muska. And just like all around like skateboard culture and stuff. So yes, the skater. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you guys are familiar. Yeah. So he had my track playing in the background, and I was like, oh shit, that's so cool. And so I've just like commented, and then he followed me back, and then we started like DMing, and he sent me a skateboard, which I'm so excited about. And I have the box here. Chris was like, you should do an opening, a box opening on the stream, which I could do if you want. But I'm really excited about that. And also like, it's, I didn't grow up on any of this stuff really, but I've always been kind of like, it's always been on my peripherals. I think skate culture is really fucking cool. And I can tell through a lot of my friends who did grow up on Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and like my friends who were just like big into skateboarding and stuff and used to watch a lot of skate tapes and everything. There's music is so embedded in that. And so many of my friends discovered so many of their favorite bands through these skate tapes and through Tony Hawk Pro Skater and everything. And so Chris and I have been really talking about that becoming just a big inspiration for the label and everything, and trying to incorporate more of that, because I think music communities can feel so insular at times, and that can be kind of slightly stifling. Like it doesn't feel like there's life being drawn in from other worlds, from other communities and stuff. So we're just kind of scheming up ideas of how to maybe embrace more of that. And it's cool that Chad Muska is now like on the radar. So should I do an unboxing? Should I do that, Chris? It's a big box though. I can't fit it in the screen. I can show you the box. Look, I got it in the mail. I just got it in the mail today. Yeah, he did date Paris Hilton. And he does make cool shoes. Chris was telling me how he had, Chad Muska he designed these pair of shoes that had a pocket on the tongue of the shoe, so that, and that's where you could hide your weed. So a lot of like 10-year-old boys would buy that shoe to feel cool. But yeah, he's Chad Muska's also like, I fuck with him. I've just been learning more about him. But he's an artist. He's a visual artist. And he lives out in the middle of the country now, and makes really cool visual art out of like concrete and stuff. I want to learn how to skate. I grew up cross country skiing. And for cross training, we would ski on roller skis. So I'm used to like being on wheels on the pavement, but I actually had a terrible ski accident when I was younger on my roller skis. So on the pavement, I had a bad ski accident. So that's left me a little bit more cautious, but I do really, really want to learn how to skateboard. I could put a contact mic. I could make it into an instrument. That'd be cool. I don't know if I should. Maybe I can open it, but then I'm gonna have to be off the mic for a second because this is gonna be tricky. Okay, you want an unboxing? Let's see. Let's check it out. Sorry. I'm not really coordinated, so give me a second. Oh, wow. There it is. Look at that. It's in the bag, but look at this packaging. That's really amazing. This is very cool packaging. Super sick. And then he put stickers in there. I got some cool Muska stickers. I think I'm regular. That's right foot dominant, right? I should be regular. Oh, wow. And some tote bags. I got some tote bags. Okay. Anyway, some of you are probably like, I don't give a shit about skateboarding. But I don't know. It's pretty exciting. I'm always feeling a pep in my step when a fellow respected artist fucks with my music and stuff. Oh! Was that me? I might have just cut my headphones. Anyway, there we go. There's the unboxing. I didn't show you the full deck, but it's too much work. I'm tired. Okay. I'm probably gonna hang it on a wall, I think. I'd rather practice skating on like a busted board, you know. But yeah, very cool. Very cool. So many legends. Oh, you want to see it? Okay. Oh, wait. I'm a fucking idiot. Guys, he wrote me a note on it. That's so sick. Oh my God, look. That's so cool. Oh my God, I'm blushing. That's so fucking cool. Okay, this is absolutely going on my wall. That's the coolest thing ever. What a cool surprise. That's so going on my wall. Wow. So sick. So fucking sick. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, we're just like making history over here, you know? Getting Chad Muska signed boards and shit. Yeah, he's a sweet dude. He's a really cool dude. I'm all about it now. I'm learning so much about like his history and just like the history of his skating team and everything that he was on. Like it's really dope. Like he had this project called Muska Beats that Chris was telling me about. And so he also produces, he makes music too, and he was working with some legendary rappers and shit. So it's cool to see like a sport really be like an extension of the arts in a way that like you don't see too often, because I grew up as an athlete. I grew up doing sports and it felt so compartmentalized. It felt like sports are here, the arts, creativity is over here. And I felt like I had to make a choice between the two, which is really, it like put me in a grieving state for a while, because when I left high school, I had to kind of decide, did I want to do music or did I want to be an athlete? Like I had to choose between the two. So I think that's why I really fuck with skateboard culture, because it's like, it's a sport, but it's an extension of the arts at the same time. And I think that's very cool. You don't see that with many sports, really. I mean, maybe like, it's like you could say that like there's a lot of artistic sports like gymnastics and stuff, but it doesn't have a culture around it. And skating has a culture around it, which is super cool. Okay, well, it seems like people are heading out, which is understandable because it's been a while, but cool. I'm glad we could share the experience together. I'm like so giddy right now. That was really exciting. Yeah, we gotta go play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater now. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out. And if you are in the New York area in October, mid-October, please consider coming out to my show. Full live instrumentation, drums, guitars, maybe some backup singers. It's going to be really fun, and I hope to see you there. And I have one more song that's going to be coming out before the album, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, that's it. The album comes out October 4th, so be on the lookout for the new single, and then the album soon. Very exciting. And feel free, I should mention I have a Discord, so please join my Discord if you haven't already. That way we can keep in touch on the rig. And I share stupid shit in there. I post photos of random things I see on the street, and I post photos of my dog. So if you haven't joined the Discord, make sure to do that. I don't know a good way to put a link in here, but hit me up if you want to join. I'll give you an invite. All right. Thank you for hanging out, guys. Appreciate you. And listen to the song. Stream that shit. Feet pics, not today. Here. There you go. All right. See you guys later. Have a good weekend. Have a good Friday.